And I remember going to university at the age of 21 and I said, look, this is a really expensive process. Like, I didn't have a lot of money at that age and stuff. I was like, I'm going to go all in, because a lot of people go to uni and they're just like, oh, I'll get a degree, I'll have some fun, like whatever. I'm like, if I'm going to spend 28 grand on a degree, I'm going all in. I'll take every opportunity.
Ben, thank you so much for being a guest on our podcast.
Thank you very much for having me. Excited.
So, Ben, we just met at a dinner party. Can you share with me what your sort of 30-second elevator pitch would be? Who are you? What do you do?
I am a coach, nutritionist, and business owner, and everything I do is centered around helping people live an awesome life. And I suppose I've always been set out in the health and fitness industry to change the narrative, to inspire people. I feel people need to be inspired, and I try and bring across that energy to allow people to go all in to what it is that makes them them, and hopefully lead them to live an awesome life.
I love that. It paints a much bigger picture than just the movement aspect, just the food aspect. And I know from sort of listening to your work and having, connected with you over the years that you do create this bigger mission. I mean, you've got the t-shirt to match. It goes further than just being about fitness for the sake of fitness or nutrition for the sake of nutrition. And I can't wait to kind of jump into learning a bit more about how you've built your business over the years and built that mentality and evolved it over time. What were some of the first steps for you in sort of, setting yourself up for success as a personal trainer at that time?
So setting myself up, I didn't really know. I think like anyone, you just take the easiest, obvious option. And that was for me to go and work in a studio gym. A friend was opening one. So he invited me in and I was like, yeah, awesome. I'll go and be a self-employed personal trainer. And at that point in time, I was with two people that had been in the industry quite a long time. And I was just a sponge. I was like, teach me this, how are you running your business? How are you coaching with clients? How are you communicating? And I was quite relentless in that. And I reached a point after 9 months where I was like, I'm not learning anything anymore. You guys aren't teaching me any stuff. And that was one of the reasons I chose to go to university as a mature student. I was like, I've got to find a place where I can learn. My appetite was insatiable. And that was because I just got really good education early on. So that was when I went to university. And I remember going to university at the age of 21 and I said, look, this is a really expensive process. Like, I didn't have a lot of money at that age and stuff. I was like, I'm going to go all in, because a lot of people go to uni and they're just like, oh, I'll get a degree, I'll have some fun, like whatever. I'm like, if I'm going to spend 28 grand on a degree, I'm going all in. I'll take every opportunity. And I did. Like at uni, I was relentless. There was one point I was working 5 jobs. I was working in pro sport. I was always the first one to put their hand up when they saw an opportunity come across, the students, alumni or whatever. And I think I just really whet my appetite to just say, what can I do? What's possible? What can I learn? And I think that's what set me up for success, is that hunger to just find out more every day.
What do you think was sort of the biggest learning for you during that stage that you would kind of share with somebody else sort of starting out now, especially in the context, as you just said, of there now being lots of players in this space and sort of not focusing too much on what everybody else is doing?
I think I'd echo your thoughts personally on go and play. Like now as a wiser business person, I sort of actually look back at my sort of earlier years and don't almost give the playtime enough credit, because you and me now might sit here and go, oh, well, don't waste your time on that. Don't waste your time on that. But sometimes you don't know unless you've experienced it. So right. When I talk about going all in, if you find something about business that you're passionate about, you don't see it as work. So you're happy to travel there, speak to this person, write that plan, write that document, make that proposal. You're happy to do the 12, 14, 16-hour days. So I say this to young people all the time. What are you interested in? They're like, oh, I'm interested in health and fitness. Awesome. Do you know what it is in health and fitness you want to do? Oh, well, not really. I enjoy this, this, and this. I said, well, go and get a job doing this, this, and this, and rule one out. And then when your passion shifts, rule the next thing out.
At what point did you sort of start to get really clear on, okay, this is the type of business that I really want to build that's going to scale and sort of last the test of time?
Yeah, I think there was two key turning points. One of them was the failure of the first business, which forced me to sit down and say, okay, which client do I want to serve? What does that package look like? And then I sat down with some really good people. So at the time I was in a business enterprise center at uni. So I sat down with all the other businesses and I was like, guys, I need your help. I've screwed up the first business. Like, I need you to pick apart what it is that I want to do in the future. How does my brand look? So they asked me critical questions and just teased it out of me. It was an amazing process. And I'm very thankful that they committed the time to do that for me. And then the second bit of that, when I'd started to clarify what I thought it was actually leaving university. And what that forced me to do is be on my own to figure it out. Because when I'm at university, I was surrounded by options. There was still the kids sport thing. There was still the PT thing. Like, all of these things were happening and kind of pulling my attention across. And then when I left uni, I had no friends in my ears giving me their opinion. I had no people at schools going, can you write this plan? And you kind of do that. And then I was like, right, okay, what is it I actually want to do? And actually the periods of silence, the periods of reflection, the periods of questioning allowed me to go, oh no, it is over here. It is that I want to write plans for people that are struggling in the gym. They've tried some stuff. It's not really working. That person that's already applying a little bit of effort, they're just not getting the structure right. They're not getting the progression right. And that was where my original coaching sort of setup took flight. And then when I grew in popularity with my kind of online coaching and my sort of personal brand grew, I was then able to widen my niche by bringing other expert coaches on. So I stayed doing what I was doing, but then I brought a coach on board that specialized in gut health and, brought a coach on board that specialized in getting people really lean and doing competitions and then endurance. So I widened my team through expertise rather than me just casting my net myself.
I'd love for you to just talk to our audience a little bit about that importance of honing your niche and how it really helped you in those early days to build your personal brand with a really clear mission and a really clear focus, and maybe some of the things that you did to actually build your personal brand at the time.
Yeah. So firstly, when you've been doing things a while and you speak in your niche and you serve customers and you get notoriety from that, your niche and ability to serve people will naturally widen. People will see your name in being able to help a lot of people. But for me, the importance of a niche early on is just for yourself more than anything, is the clarity of what you're actually doing. So when it comes to you knowing your niche, when you really know it, when you start doing your marketing, you're talking their language. So if you know that your niche is a 35-year-old mum with 2 kids, she's stressed, she's got back pain, she's got sore hips, she doesn't sleep properly. That's power in language in marketing, because when you write a blog, you're talking about the back pain, you're talking about the fatigue, you're talking about everything. And then that woman that's reading it's like, this person can really help me. But if you don't talk in that language, you never really identify with that niche. You're always just missing the mark.
Ben, I'd love to talk about this idea of kind of moving from one-to-one to one-to-many. So as an expert, you get to a point where perhaps you're sort of seeing 30, 40 clients a week and your time is maxed out and you realize that you can't do everything on your own. Can you talk a little bit about the point in your business where you started to think about those scaling up models and how you sort of evaluated, what do I do next to move away from just working in that one-to-one capacity?
Sure. So I think the first step for most people is to question or identify with the current true frustrations in your business. So for most founders, you'll generally start to get frustrated with like the admin, the invoicing, the stuff that literally is a sort of 10 to 15 pound an hour job where you should be earning the 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 pound an hour kind of jobs. So you say, right, well, really scaling, I just need to keep taking the low serving level stuff off my plate to allow me the freedom to focus on the impact stuff. And not every business owner can always let go of that stuff. Some stuff's easy, like accounting, no one wants to do that. Like it's easy to palm off. But sometimes, especially when it comes to client communication, you want to make sure that it's being done right. The things are being said in the right kind of ways and all that kind of stuff. that's where you just need to make sure you're putting in good systems. Like if you want it done right, you put in the exact system that you want, and you've got to spend time there. But the problem is building systems is very unsexy, and it takes time. And quite often in a business, you're recruiting someone in at a point where there's generally pain, there's frustration. You're like, oh my God, I'm working like 15 hours a day here. I'm pulling my hair out. But then I've got to build a system. Well, that's going to take these hours. And actually,
it's quicker for me to just do it myself.
Exactly. So I would always look at pain points and recruit people in for pain points.
For anybody listening who is really just starting out in this space and wanting to build a truly credible and authentic voice in the market, what kind of advice would you give specifically in kind of the fitness and nutrition realm in sort of building that credibility and authority with a personal brand at the core of your business?
Sure. So a couple of things. Firstly, credibility. I think the health and fitness industry has struggled with its credible identity for a while. And I do think that if you're entering in the market, you should have all the appropriate qualifications and you should be able to lean back on the advice that you're giving. So that's first thing. Second thing is like really find your voice. We've talked about niching today. If you're doing videos on social, if you're doing graphics, if you're doing whatever, podcast, it doesn't matter. Really find your voice, because if you want to work with people, if you want to bring something different to the market, then we need to hear your voice. We need to hear your truth. What is it that you're about? So make sure you're speaking that. And then coupled with that is, because hopefully you're bought in with the process, you're feeling passionate, make as many friends as possible. Like make friends with Ben Coomber or whoever the Ben Coomber is in your industry or whatever. Like make friends with all these people. Like start to give advice, start to talk to people, start to share, because when they think of the person that's into beauty and skincare, like perhaps they'll think of you. Or when they're thinking of recruitment, like perhaps they'll think of you. And, you know, we can't continue to move forward in business if we don't have the right friends in the right places, or it makes it a lot harder. You know, if I'm able to ring up whoever because I need to get somewhere, they know somewhere, like how do I make that phone call? How did it happen? What work have I done to align myself with those people? But in saying that, please do it in a genuine way. There's so many people out in business that think, oh, well, if I network, I'll get to my goal of getting rich quicker. And you can sniff it a mile off. Like I get requests all the time for people to come on my podcast. And I know that they only want to come on because they're trying to get leverage of an audience, which is fine. I get that. But they're like, oh, I listened to a show once of yours and I picked out a thing. And like, you can see it's like a pre-written way to get into someone's kind of good books, to get into a podcast. It's like people can see your genuineness. Like if you really want to be in the fitness industry, it should be easy to just talk and share ideas and make friends, rather than like, I'm going to make friends because it will get me further forward in business. Right. So be genuine in your approach to that, but it's a quick way to get places.
Ben, what's one thing that you wish you'd known when you first started out on your business journey? That
you will always find a way. If you trust yourself, if you're all in, if you're passionate, you will always find a way. So just try and be wary of getting caught up in the problem and your emotions, and just stand back and say, no, I can find a way. Just need to ask better questions of myself.
What's one thing that you wish that you'd done sooner in your business?
Paid for marketing. I relied so much in the early days of just organic, blog, video, and I just resisted it. And then when we started to, pay for our ads to get seen more places, our business just leapt forward, and I just resisted it for too long because I'd previously built, my business in that way. But marketing's changed, and now you really need to pay to play.
Ben, what's your why? Why do you do what you do?
I do what I do because there's a lot of people out there that could live a more fulfilling, more rewarding life, what I would describe as an awesome life. And I want to help people navigate that journey. I think we're all on this planet for a reason, and that's to have a good one, to have fun, like to thrive as people. I think life is a gift, and I don't see a lot of people seeing life as a gift. So I want people to have a good one. And I just do that through health and fitness and challenging people's mindsets.
Incredible. What's the best part about your job day to day?
Knowing that I am having an impact. I get messages every day on social media, people saying, "Oh, Ben, I've listened to your podcast. You changed my life. I've done this." And a lot of the time it's through most of the free stuff that I do. It's not often through, whatever they've paid £100 for something. So that's good. Like, I can go to bed at night thinking that I've helped some good people.
Great. What's the best piece of advice that you've ever received for your business?
That is a tough one. And when I was reading your questions before we started, I was actually like, "Oh, how am I gonna look at this?" I think it was probably a financial lesson, in that it sounds really obvious, but like, cash is king. But I was so sort of free and easy as an entrepreneur that it didn't matter that cash was king, because it was only me. But when you get to a point where you've got 4, 5, 6, 7 staff, like, cash is king. You have to pay wages and pay invoices and stuff like that. So I think after the 2017 lesson, I really learned that financial advice the hard way. And it was like, always know your numbers and take risks, knowing that you have got a bit of a fallback.
Ben, you are a superstar. Thank you so much for being on the show. Such great advice. I think this is going to go down a treat, and wishing you all the best with the future in your business.
Thank you. Likewise, hopefully when we're out of lockdown, I'll see you at an event in London, and we'll be back to doing things where we can all get together and learn off each other and network properly again.
Absolutely. Cheers, Ben.
Thank you.